Okay, so here we are with Zero10 Podcast. Once again, we're so excited to be here. It's bright and early in the morning today, so this is good. I
We
get,
didn't quite make 3 weeks in a row.
we didn't, I know, full intention, full
Yeah,
intention. I don't remember what happened last week, but our schedules are crazy right now,
yeah,
especially Andy's. I
yeah.
feel like you've got some things going, location wise and business wise and all the things. So the fact that we get to talk to Andy right now is very special because
Yeah.
it takes
Yeah.
time to out of your stuff that's needs
Yeah.
to get done. Yeah.
Well,
What are
and
you up
hopefully,
to?
well, Friday my house closes, so hopefully that means that there will be less, I don't love the word stress, but less reasons to have to step away from life, I guess, just having to have moved everything here. So I'm hoping today's my last trip to my house and I can get everything cleaned and thrown into my vehicle. I might have to do one more trip, but we'll see.
Got it.
So, so yeah, that's exciting news.
It's
Um,
great news.
yeah.
I really hope today just feels peaceful though, like I hope that that can just be cleaned up and done and you can walk out of there feeling good.
I hate cleaning, so I doubt it'll be
Oh,
peaceful.
it's the cleaning part. Got it.
But who's to say? I think there's a lot of, meaning behind cleaning too, right? I
Oh, of
mean,
course.
it's not just simply cleaning.
No.
And I mean, it's not like it was gross or anything. I just wasn't even there enough to make it gross a lot of times. So it's not like, I've moved out of places before where all of a sudden you move a couch and you're like, oh my gosh, or, you're like, how did I miss this or whatever? But it's like, no, it's not. My house isn't like, so
Yeah.
it's not, it doesn't have to be like a crazy deep clean, but yeah, I want it to look nice for the guests. And for the guests, for the
I was
new
like,
for the
well,
new
you used,
owners,
I know, right? Well,
the new
it's funny.
owners.
It's good that you think of it like that, like they're a guest, like you're inviting them into your
But
home
well,
and
initially they kind of are. Like, don't you feel that way in a new house until you settle in a little bit and you're like, yeah, this is weird. This is somebody else's house.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
hoping that they'll, yeah, like I think we talked about that before. You say goodbye and say hello to something new, and you really hope that you leave your space in a good place for the next person that steps into it. So yeah, I'm excited. And as I've been in Hazen for about a month now, pretty much staying here, and it is my new home and I love it. And so just continuing to settle in here. And so good things, all good things.
We both moved to small towns.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
It
Very
was not my
interesting,
intent. I don't think it was yours.
you know? Nope, not really. I moved to a small town once before. Well, and I'm from here, but I moved to a small town once before with zero intent of that in the first place, and then zero intent on leaving, and then yeah, just what kind of kept falling into place was I'd come back to Bismarck for a year or two, and then I'd move to a small town. It's kind of
Mhm.
how it's been. But moving, it's interesting. I was messaging a friend yesterday, and so since I've moved out of my house, all of my stuff went somewhere, right? And then so we've been cleaning my or decluttering my mom's house. Not that it's definitely not cluttered by any means, but she's like, I don't think we need this dresser anymore. And we moved the couches out of the basement and brought my couch in. So we've just kind of like revamped a lot too. So I feel like I've been moving for many months at this point. Like
Mhm.
I loaded up my car again to bring some things back to Buffalo where my storage is. And she's like, "Is there going to be one day that you don't have to load your car?" And I'm like, "I would love that." I'm kind of at that point where, yeah, I'd like to just grab my purse and walk out the door instead of loading it up the night before. Uh, yeah, so um yeah, it's been interesting, but it's been
Oh,
good.
excuse
It's
me.
been good. You're
Hmm.
good. You're
Good.
good. Did you get a morning coffee or a morning tea or anything?
My morning did not go as I expected, and that's okay. But that's kind of again the whole flow, right? I got up on time, I was moving on time,
Yeah.
and Jerry needed me for a little bit, which is rare in the morning. In the morning, he's usually pretty sedentary till, 10, 11. He'll wake up and then he'll fall back asleep and kind of that kind of thing. But we needed to get some things done this morning. So that threw me behind a little bit, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
No big deal. But
Yeah.
no, so I see I use this Armra colostrum. I don't know. Have you ever
Oh, I've
used
seen that
it?
on
Yeah.
social. Like it pops up on
Yeah.
my stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I started using it probably 3, 4, 5 months ago, something like that. One of my, Misha, actually, one of
Mhm.
my employees, she was using it and she noticed a huge difference in her hair and her nails, and her digestive system seemed to be flowing a little better and stuff. And, um, so I started using it, and so anyway, I drink that in the morning and I see I made it and it's still sitting over there. So I, I'm
If you get up and
a
go
little
somewhere, we
behind.
know that it's just time you need your colostrum.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, my morning's just a little bit off, but that's okay. It'll it'll catch up.
Yeah.
I don't worry about it. I'll catch up on all things at some point. So
Yeah.
I'm just fortunate to be at that place in life where I don't sweat much. I don't things
Yeah.
just
Try to
things will
do.
always work out in my opinion. And if they don't, then you address it then and move on. So kind of leads into maybe what we're going to talk about this
Yeah.
morning, right?
Yeah, which is why Andy looks the way that she does. Honestly, like I feel like you're just getting younger and younger every time.
Really?
Yes.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
do want to, I know that that's an internal job, you know.
Mhm.
Most of it is an internal job. Even though
Yeah.
you're in esthetician work and all that stuff, like you know the products and the things to put on your face and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think most of it is probably coming from the inside, don't you think?
Absolutely, because when I was in a different place in life, it didn't matter what I put on my face or what I used to do all kinds of crazy things to my skin and my body. And it's like none of it made a difference because I wasn't in a good place, you
Yeah.
know? So none of that made any difference. And now I do the bare minimum. And I mean, I think as an esthetician, the important thing that I always tell people is just natural and organic. The chemicals, they're killing us, quite frankly. I mean, and even like, you know, the more I learn with what Jerry's going through and stuff, it's crazy. And we know this, but like even the clothes, even
Yeah.
this shirt right here is full of toxins and they don't ever go away.
I know
And
it. Yeah.
it's like you do the best you can, and you don't want to freak people. I don't want to freak people out. I don't want to freak out. I'm not going to take my whole wardrobe and throw it away.
Yeah.
But I try to make changes every day. And anyway, the most important thing to me is the products that we put in and on our bodies.
Yeah.
So I am very careful about that. But you can't stress it either. Not
No,
worry
I
about
mean
it
that's
all.
not going to help anything on the inside either. That's actually,
No.
worse sometimes. So,
Yeah.
just yeah, doing what you can. I'm definitely as much non-toxic stuff as I can do, and that's why we connected so well. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if I can go anywhere else to get anything because I know that your products were researched and they're clean. Um, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we were going to talk about that. A little bit of like lessons or things that we've learned along the way. And we talked about it a little bit before we hopped on to record, where it's like I didn't even realize I did that or like how I came out of that, but eventually you do. And there's this amazing poem, and I wish I had it. If I find it, I'll add it to the show notes here for people to read it. But it's a really well-written poem that's pretty much taking you through the phases of, you fall in holes and you don't realize that you fell in a hole, right? And then you have to figure out how to get out of it. And it's just like, oh, well, that was a lesson, and but you still figured out how to get out. Like you're still you know, here, hopefully. Here. And then the next time you still fall in the hole, but you knew that it was there, right? You're like, but I still fell in it. The next time you paused and then you fell in it. And then the next time you walked around the hole, and then the last time that you've now forgotten that it was that you had a hole because you took a different route. So when people ask for advice on things, it's like, I don't, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to think back on
Mhm.
like, how did that actually go? Um, and so my thought, my first lesson that I remember, and I'm still not out of it yet, because I I don't have anyone working for me right now, right? It's on me. But the hiring process, and then as people transition out and that sort of thing, probably the first time I did that, I hired, and we actually, it's a long story short, I financially couldn't afford her. I hired her right away, and she saw the struggle and everything, and I eventually had to tell her I maxed out my credit cards, and this is the last payroll. Like I can't, I mean, I wasn't taking any money out other than to live. And
Mhm.
so yeah, we had to have that conversation, and it was gracefully like parted, right? There's no hard feelings. She actually came and worked for me later. But then I was like, oh, well, that's smooth, right? Like I didn't fall in a hole yet. And then with time, I've had a lot of different people working with me, and not something I learned. I didn't learn how to have employees or even run a business, you know? So, um, I kept feeling like I needed to do something more and make them happy and all these things. And of course, like I want to do what's best for them, and I want them to do what's best for them as well. But it kind of got to be, I was scared that they weren't going to show up to work one day. Like I felt that way, and I put it into the universe that way too. Like I was, you know, just nervous about it all the time.
Right.
So yeah, and that kind of stuff happened. One girl left, and like, well, normally I had the conversations, and then and there was something kind of hairy, like crucial conversations or hard conversations were had, and I wouldn't say they went well on my end. Like I instantly just went like, oh God,
Mhm.
it's coming true. Like whatever. Like I
Mhm.
just had a lot of that, and there was quite a few right in a row, where One, one was really hard to see go because it was to a competitor-ish, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And some things were promised and whatnot, and it just didn't work out. And that one like broke my heart. Like I felt like I could have done something different. And when she decided to go, it was like she is just gone. Like there was um no leeway in it really. And then the next one was like, honestly, I had to let a chiropractor go. And then someone else was in the office, and she had to go. And she told me that she just needed she was trying something completely new being with us. And then she left. But by the time she told me she was leaving, I was honestly, I was sitting in the chair, and she told me, and I had this like, I heard this clairvoyance going on, and it said, "What would Jesus say?" And it was so loud, and I was like, and it just settled everything down. And so I wouldn't say I didn't fall in the hole. Finally, I walked around the hole. I didn't fall in the hole, but I haven't now had a chance to like see how I pivot before the hole's even in sight. I haven't figured that out yet, but so I'm still in the midst of learning those, if we want to say lessons, and just how things go. And but dang, it felt so much better
Mhm.
walking around the
Yeah,
hole than falling in it,
right.
for sure.
Well, I think we talked about this briefly before, but it is hard to remember when you learn the lesson sometimes
Mhm.
because life just happens and you hopefully, I mean, and I don't know that everybody, I know people personally who keep falling in the hole over and over and over. And it's hard watching people fall in the hole because you want to put a piece of plywood down, right? So they can walk over it, or you want to
Yeah,
carry them over the hole, or you want to do the things for them.
Yeah.
And that's another lesson to learn is that you cannot do that for people
No. Right.
because it really is not good for them. It's not
Hmm.
good for you, but it's really not good for them either because they're going to keep the holes are going to keep coming. So they're
Yeah.
going to
And you'll just have
they'll
to keep
follow
laying that plank down.
right, until they right have an opportunity to learn how to step around the hole or that miss the hole altogether or whatever. But yeah, I look back and I think it's okay, let's use employees as example. Gosh, have I made mistakes? And I'm not talking necessarily about Karma Vita. I was a restaurant manager for many years and I mean, I interviewed and hired so many people on that scale. When you're working for corporate companies, people just, and you have 100 employees at any given time. It's like, gosh, I've interviewed so many people, hired so many people, had so many people not show up,
Yeah.
quit in the moment, no matter how they come and go. And it's like, I learned very quickly that you can't, it's hard when you say you're heartbroken. I've been heartbroken too, many times by employees. And you just have to learn you can't take it personally. It is
Yeah.
personal though. It is.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
personal,
It is
especially when
personal.
you own your own business. It's very personal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've had to learn that, like, okay, well, as in any relationship with any person that you have in your life, sometimes relationships don't work,
Right.
you know? And in business, people don't always think of it as a relationship, but it is.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because this happened, and this is not employee related at all, but it's still relational. So I remember one time I was dating this guy and we were really good. Like I really enjoyed him a lot. But all of a sudden I was getting very insecure that he was going to break up with me. And it was super random. I didn't even know why, other than we were a long ways apart. So there was some like, a lot, it was a lot of work to date him,
Mhm.
to make sure that we got to see each other and we enjoyed each other when we got to see each other. So it was always like fun to go see him. But this one time I was going and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I feel like he's just going to break up with me. And I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling because now when I start to feel that insecurity, it's like, no, I think it's me that's ready to end the relationship or whatever it is. Like, I don't think
Mhm.
there was a conversation out of it. It was just kind of done. But how does a person know in between like an insecurity that's like a sign that something isn't quite right to, yeah, to, let's say that was my sign before, like to pivot before falling into a hole, right? Then I fell into the hole again, like I totally did. Um,
Sure.
but it was quick. Like
Do
it
you
was
think
a
it matters? Do you think it matters? Because something inside of you it probably just knew it wasn't going to move forward, whether it was him or whether it was you. Something wasn't right. And something inside of you was telling you that.
100%. Yeah, there
So
was no
whether it was an insecurity on your part or whether you could literally feel the energetically that he was kept, he
not
was
my
he was
guy for,
peacing out or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So I don't know that it matters. I think that just, I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does matter. But in my thought process, it's like if you're feeling something inside
yeah. That's when
that
you
you believe
pivot,
if it,
right? That's
yeah,
start when you yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there was not one piece of, and so this is, I mean, I'm 37, so I've dated multiple times. We've had a lot of relationships, period, like with a lot of
Yeah.
different people and all the things. Um, there's ones that I definitely try harder for, and ones that I don't, because I know it's on me too to like, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's effort. But that was like an internal feeling, and I've felt anytime I have like an internal like um I don't even want to say it's my gut or my heart or whatever, but anytime I have that, it's like listen to it. You might not know
Mhm.
the answer of what needs to happen,
Mhm.
but you really need to listen to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think
Which,
I'm always amazed when I say that to people and they don't know, like you can just tell they have no clue what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that's tough because I'm trying to teach that. Like that's what my career is now, is
Right.
teaching that.
Right.
And
to listen to your, to try to tune into you.
So you can trust yourself. I think
Right.
our world is really struggling because we don't trust ourselves,
Mhm.
right? And if we don't trust ourselves, then we can't trust others. And then there's reasons why we're having trouble. And I'm in the healthcare field, so it's a whole another gamut there. Um, but it's definitely there's a lot of trust problems going on. Because if you don't trust it and you can't then conversate about it, then it's hard to ask for help. You don't even know what you need. And we're like overstimulated with all the ways to externally or even internally repair ourselves or to help, bring out this healthy, vibrant human that we all strive to be and want to be. But it's it's an in it's internal, it's an internal work, but it takes time and it takes practice and it takes the holes. But I
Mhm.
don't think I would have ever recognized any of that stuff until I was starting to be more present with just my body.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think one of our mutual friends, Caroline, actually, I'll just name drop her name because when she listens, she'll know she's getting talked about in a good way. But she told me that she's like, you're different, Josie. Like, not a lot of people don't even pay attention to that stuff, and I'm very thankful that I get to, but I'm also very jealous of some people who don't because I mean, I'm sure they learn things the hard way sometimes, but if I didn't have my body as my compass, I would not be in a good place right now, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. And there are theories about when you make decisions. There's one there's one world that you continue on the path that you didn't make the decision, and then there's one world where you universe, whatever you call it, where you did make this decision, right? And so you live these parallel, and every decision you make kind of breaks off, right? So I think that I do often think that, like, well, what would have happened if I didn't? If I would have just kept doing this, or if I did just keep doing this. Um, and usually I can always imagine that it wouldn't have been as good as, you know what I mean? Like, I think, okay, what if I wouldn't have, stopped drinking soda when I was 20 years old or whatever, because I did. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, it would probably be in a big hot mess, if I continue to drink soda in life. But that's just one
You
little
don't know.
example.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't
We don't know.
know.
Mm-mm.
You don't know. You have no idea. But I do trust that the majority of decisions that I've made, including with employees, even if they were the wrong decisions, they
Mm-hmm.
were I hold that they were the right decision in the moment, and there was lessons to learn for me or for them or whatever,
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well,
I
and then
don't
that's
regret. I
trusting
don't
the
look back
process.
and feel bad. I
Right.
just don't.
And I
I
think
don't.
acceptance is a big piece of all of this, actually,
Yeah.
is that because the more I trust myself, the less I regret any decision I make, even if it didn't end up the way that I expected it to.
Right.
It's just,
Right.
it's, yeah, I don't know. It feels better. Like everything feels better when it's that way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Have you had any, well, if it's not employees or that was just an example. Have you had anything like that you're like, I don't know, you found yourself staying away from the hole?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. And you and I have that in common, where we, as grown adult women, were single. And so it's a great reference point because it I always look at people who have been in relationships since they were, like, high school.
Yeah,
I'm like, how did you know that way back then? I fell in hole after hole after hole after hole after hole after hole, like so many of them before I was lucky enough to well, I mean, no, it's not luck. Before I and
fortunate.
really with every single time I did right, it did get better because I was like, okay, well, I don't want that again.
Yeah,
So then I would choose a little differently. And then I would be like, well, I don't want that again, and so I kept, but like, I always look and think, how were you smart enough to do that when you were, 16 years old or whatever? Because it took me till I was 50
Yeah.
to, choose correctly for myself. But, again, we all have a different journey. But yes, there was a lot of holes that were fallen in and stepped around and stepped over. And, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what's
And
funny? It
not
made me
just in
think of,
dating,
huh?
not just in dating world, but it's a great
It's a great,
reference
yeah,
because
for sure.
that's why you date, I think, also as a young person and as, in any, you date to find out what you want and what you will tolerate, what you find your boundaries and you find you find a lot of things along the way when you're dating people.
Well,
And
do you remember? Well, I don't remember when this was. I feel like we had this conversation way, way back, like when we were first getting to know each other, and we talked about mirroring. So I was so out of tune with myself, but dating like
yeah,
mirrored my
yes,
issues actually. So
yeah,
it was, but I didn't know that at the time. And then I started like realizing it's like, oh boy, like I have some, like if this person drives me this crazy, like what is that saying about me?
yeah,
Not
right,
necessarily about the other person. So
right,
I
right.
definitely use that. I use that in my relationships now with like friends and family and everybody. I'm like, okay, like there's something, not saying that I need to be close with all these people, but it's still like it if it stirred up a like a internal like a an emotion that
Mhm.
instead of just saying hey like this isn't working out or whatever, it was like I had this emotional like turmoil going on. It's like that is definitely an in me thing, not an
That's a female male thing because what I always found interesting about dating is men are so good at just being like, you don't fit what I want, so I'm moving on. And we as women, we almost try to fit what they want instead of figuring out what we want, right? And men are really good about just being like, this is who I am,
yeah,
take it or leave it.
right.
Or they're really good at like, you're not what I want. And I'm going to move on and find what I want. And I'm unapologetic about it, and women were, it just seems like I see a lot of women that just, and myself included to a point, that just, all of a sudden, oh, what there was a, oh, was it, there's a movie about it. I've seen movies about it too, where women will all of a sudden you like to go to rodeos because you're dating someone who goes to rodeos, right? Or you're all of a sudden like to motorcycle because you're dating a gentleman who rides a motorcycle. And it's like, why do we do this? Yes. Yes, you want to share some common interests with somebody and maybe there's some give and take, but for the most part, it's usually
Right.
it's a form of mirroring, right? Like you want to fit the mold of what they're looking for. It's odd. Men don't do that as much.
No, a lot of times they just don't go.
They just don't.
Like I love concerts. I don't love concerts. They just don't go and I go to a concert, right?
Right, right, right. Why do
Like
we do
something
that?
like that.
Well, that's probably a whole nother
It's a whole
podcast,
other topic, probably.
but but it's the same sort of, like, yeah,
Yeah.
why do we, instead of really honestly, instead of, I mean, is that's a form of falling into the hole, really, is like,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna do this, to try to fit somebody's mold, and we know
Yeah.
that never works.
No. I'm all about exploring these days. Like I like somebody likes something, then I want to explore it with them. And then if I can find anything that I enjoy, because there's a lot of things I've never done or
Hmm.
maybe didn't see it in that perspective or whatever. So like um rodeo is not a great example because I loved rodeo, but I went to the rodeo this last week,
Hmm.
and had the best time. But you know what I did most of it? Visit with my sister and visit
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I enjoyed being able to have this, time outside and hanging out watching some of the rodeo. I don't even know who all went, but not saying that I don't, but I also appreciate it because I know how hard it is. But I don't know, it's just different. Like my perspective on things are different now and like
Hmm.
but if there's something that I just can't get on board with, then I just can't get on board with it.
Right,
But
Right. And that's to me is completely missing the whole, right? Like,
Right.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can't wait
exactly.
for you to get home. I'll see you. Or let me know how it
Mm,
went. I want to hear
have
how
fun.
much you loved it. Yeah.
Right.
Something like that. I'll live
Exactly.
vicariously
Exactly.
through you, not out of
Hmm.
being stubborn or whatever. It's
Hmm.
just a matter of
Hmm.
I will be a
Yeah.
better person when you get home because I didn't go, and we'll have a great
Right.
conversation about your love of it.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's honestly about our time.
Is it?
It's already, yeah, about 30 minutes.
All right. Well, time to
Well,
move
hopefully,
forward. Trying to drink my colostrum and
yeah. I think somebody probably either got to work or finished getting ready, got their walk in, listening to us. Yeah,
hopefully it's a beautiful morning here in Hazen. I'm guessing, is it in South Dakota too?
it's very nice. Very nice. It's cooled off a little bit, so kind of fresh
Um,
out there. Yeah.
yeah. Good. All right. Awesome. Well,
Okay.
enjoy your Tuesday.
I will. You too. And we
Okay.
will see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.